Okay, so the first to understand the decorators, before that we require to understand nested functions. Okay, so as someone asked you yesterday, is it possible to create a function within the function? Yes, in Python we have that option. So we can create the nested functions. That means you can define one function within the another function, and both can be executable. But the inside function you can able to take the help of the outside function. You can't call directly inside function. Always you have to use the outside function to call the inside functions. So that is the basic idea of the nested function. So how the syntax will be, I will explain now. So the syntax won't be changed much difference. A simple definition. Let's take example outer function. Okay, bracket open close. Whatever you want to write, you can write. Then we have same way definition inner function bracket open close and write something, and you can close the functions. If you want to write something outer function, yes, you can do that also. So this is a simple a way of writing the nested functions in Python. Okay, so nested function means if you define one function within the another function, we call it is a nested function. So if you want to call them, how to do, we'll see the different examples, at least one or two examples we'll see, so you can understand. So the first one I'm taking nested function demo 1. So here also with return type, without return type, we can demonstrate. Okay, so nested fn demo 1 I'm writing. So here the first one without return I'm explaining. So definition, let's take example outer f1. Okay, I'm writing outer function and enter, and here I'm printing that, so to showcase how the hierarchy will execute like that. So I'm writing outer function start, and then after I'm writing definition inner function. Okay, so now close, and it is I'm writing outer function, and in inner function I'm writing again print. So as I said, right, I'm not writing anything, just I'm writing the print statements only. Okay, inner function start, and then after I'm closing that, I'm writing again print inner, sorry, it's again outer, right? So outer function ends. So first I started with outer function. I written the something code within the outer function as an inner function again, and I return the outer function ends. Okay. So now if I'm calling this, like example, how to call, you know, right? By using the outer function. We can't call by using inner function outside the outer function. Okay. So now if I'm calling this, what will execute? Just check the output. You can understand. See, first it will get the outer function start and outer function ends. Even though we have an inner function in the outer function, it is not executable, or it's not executed at all. If you see here, why? Because we created this function, but we never executed this function at any time. So now if I want to execute this function, like after that, wherever you require, like for example, after outer ends or after this, you have to call that function, inner function. So now you will see the output of outer function and inner function and outer function, and see that. So now the inner function is executed. So likewise, you can define any function in the outer function, you can execute that within the function. But this approach is not really feasible in real time, because if you create like this, what is the use of this function, right? So generally the return mode of execution always be used in the inside function generally. Okay, so that I will how to do, we'll see. Even you can pass the arguments also. Let's say example, if I want to pass the argument, let's take it here, I'm writing let's take some mango, I'm writing, and here I'm writing fruit, fruit. The same argument also you can use in the inside also. Like example, here also you can print that fruit, and here also you can print fruit, and here also you can print that fruit. Okay, now you can execute this. See, if you observe that the mango is available all three places, so it shows that whatever the argument you are passing to the main function, the outer function, that even arguments to inside function also, you don't require to specially pass the argument here. You can directly use the outer argument as a inside of the respective inner function. So this approach also possible in the outer function, inner function. The first point, if you are not returning anything, the inner function only can be called within the outer function itself. We can't call outside the outer function. And the arguments, whatever we supply to the outer function, the same thing we can give input to the inner function directly. You don't require to again pass here fruit and here you can fruit. You don't require to do that. So that can capable of capturing the outside function arguments within the inside function. So any doubt in this simple program? So this is a simple example, but now the second example I will tell you with return type. So there you can see some difference. Like I mean to say, now we are calling the inner itself here itself, right? But now if you use the return concept, we can call the inner function outside the respective block. Here we can call that basically. So that I will tell you in the second example. But before going to second example, please try to understand this. If you are anyone have any doubt, ask me.
No, sir. No.
Okay, great. So now I will take another example with return type, okay? Because the return type only what we used in the decorators concept, basically. It's the same approach we use in decorators, okay? So now I'm telling nested function demo 2, okay? So now you see I'm writing definition. Let's take same example, outer function, okay? So now I'm taking again here same example, print outer starts, okay? And then I'm writing definition, inner function. But as I mentioned, let's take print here. I'm writing inner function. But here I'm printing again outer ends. Okay. Now after this, I'm returning the inner function. So return inner function. Okay. But I'm not, see here, I'm not printing or calling the return function. Returning means it throw back into the where we are calling. Like now, if I'm writing the outer function, okay, now also again same thing. If I'm calling simply outer function, it will call the outer and it will print outer messages only. Like if you say, sorry, we have to recall the function. Yeah, see that it is calling the outer starts and outer ends and inner function is calling, see that, okay. But now the another advantage is, like for example here I'm capturing ifn as a function, as an instance, okay. Ifn means it is capturing the output of the outer function. So what it is returning, the inner function is returning, right? Now I'm removing this brackets, okay. So now what happened, you know, the inner function as an instance, I mean to say as an object, it will return and it's storing in the ifn, that's called line number 8, okay. Now you see outer starts, outer ends, it doesn't print the inner. But now if I want to call the inner, now you can call ifn from here. So now ifn will call the inner function. Now you see that outer ends, inner function, now we got it, see that. Here you see inner function, the last line you are getting. Now you can pass arguments independently. Like example, if you want to pass the inputs, like example, I'm passing something ABC, okay. So that ABC will come here as an outer function, okay. Now if I'm writing something like here XYZ, now this XYZ will go to this particular function. Let's say example S2, okay. So now I'm printing comma S1 here, and here I'm passing S2 here, okay. So now we can run this code, you will see that here you are getting the ABC as an argument and here you are getting XYZ as an argument. And also as we previous concept explained, here we are getting along with the S2, we also get the S1 also, because S1 has a global variable, it can also have the accessibility in the inner function. Now you see the inner function can get the XYZ and ABC. So now by this you can understand the inner function as the output of the outer function. So the inner function again we can access as a function in the outside. So this approach will be more readable and useful in the real time, basically compared to the previous model. But both are concept of nested functions only. That means defining one function within the another function only. So any doubt? The second example, whatever explained. So this is we call nested functions in Python. Two approaches. One is like without return type, and the second one is with return type. So any doubt, please ask me. Otherwise, I will go to the next point. Any doubt? Okay, fine. So now we'll go for decorator. Okay. So what do you mean by decorators? A decorator is also a function. As like I can say nested function, I can say simply a decorator is a nested function or a function which will change the behavior of the any function. Okay, behavior of the any function without modify its internal code or its internal, or you can say the behavior. Okay, so that means in technical simpler words I can tell you. Okay, let's take example. Okay, you given, let's take you given some input. Okay, let's take example, you given 12 in the code. What you written means, let's take example, you did a code for, let's take example, the given number is for the factorial. Let's take example, for given number you find the factorial. But now an additional requirement came to that, you require to validate whether it's a negative or not, but you forgot to add that code initially. Now instead of modify the existing code what we written so far, you can add the decorator and you can add it to the prospective function, so that the decorator will modify the whatever the behavior we required as per the need. So in simpler words I can say that without modify the internal code of the function, if you want to add any external behavior to the respective function only, then we can use decorators concept. I will show you one example, very simple example, you can easily understand. Okay, so instead of highlighting the theory, practical I will show you. Okay, so let's take decorator demo. Very simple example. Let's take, I have definition, very simple example, hello. Okay, so now I'm writing print, let's take hello world. Okay, so whenever I'm calling this hello, it's printing the hello world. This is very pretty basic logic. Okay, so now I'm calling the hello, very simple what do you call it, example. Now you see you got the hello world. Okay, now my point is, see, without modify this hello world line, okay, I don't want to modify here. So now what I want to print along with the hello world, I want to print every time. Let's take welcome to the Python first, to the before the hello world. Okay, before the hello world I want to print welcome to the Python, and after the hello world I want to print the bye. Let's take example. Now the one approach, you try to modify this code. Like example, you can print welcome to the Python like this. But here what I'm highlighting, I don't want to modify this hello function at all. So that will be hello world only. That, like example, I am writing another function. Let's take definition. Let's take hi, I'm writing. I will tell you simple. Let's take print here hi world. Example I'm telling. Now if I want to call that, I will call the hi, right? Now in this also, before printing hi world, I want to print the welcome to Python. So likewise, I don't want to modify the inside the code, but I want to append the statement every time to the respective functions wherever they are required. So for that purpose only we are using decorators. So how to do, I'm explaining now. So for decorators creation, as usual, you have to create the nested function. So definition, let's take example, dec demo I'm writing. Okay, dec demo. Now bracket, it will take an argument as a function always. Okay, so function as an argument, and it is not a keyword. You can write your own name also, but we should use the same word within the function, nested function. That is, we have to understand. And now immediately you should write def inner, that is inner function. Inner function you have to write. That's what I'm telling. If you want to write the decorator, you should understand inner functions. I mean to say nested function. So inner function. Now this inner function has three stages. One is before function, and then before actual your code execution. So what is that you want to run before hello? You want to print welcome to Python. That you have to write first. And then secondly, what you want to exit. So now the last statement, I mean that what you want to run after hello execution. So that is what I mentioned by. Now in between these two lines, you have to call the actual function called line number 7 or 10. So for that, you simply call the func call. That's it, very simple. Okay. Now finally, see, I hope you understand that the way of writing decorator very simple. First you have to write one outer function, inner function, and the outer function, whatever the argument you are writing, the same argument with the brackets you have to call within this before and after lines. Now how the flow will be executed, I will explain. See how the decorator will execute. Whenever you are calling hello function, it won't execute the line number 10. Initially, if you observe, the line number 10 will execute directly. Okay, but now if you create a decorator for that, it won't execute directly line number 10. First, it will go to the inner function. Okay, now in the inner, whatever the lines of code we have before this func call, that all will execute. And now it will call the function. What do you mean by these functions, Arante? Now the pointer will come to line number 4 to line number 10. So now whatever the code we have in the allow function, that will execute, and once this completed, once again will come back to the by statement. So like that the flow will execute. Okay, so line number 3 and then line number 10 and then number 5. But finally the syntax of this, you should return this outer function. Now what is outer function? Deck demo. Okay, so sorry, not the outer function, inner function, because it should be act as a function, right? So inner function, no need of bracket. This is the way of writing the decorator. But now if I'm calling, you won't get the decorator because we are still created the decorator, but we didn't append this decorator to the respective functions. So if I want to append that, we have a keyword called @ okay, what is that? @ so @ decorator name, that's it. So now we added decorator demo to hello only, we didn't add it to the hi. So now you will get welcome to Python by before and after the hello word, you won't get hi word. Now I'm executing, see that, see, welcome to Python, hello world and bye. You are not getting anything to hi because I didn't add. Now you want to modify this behavior, yes, you can add now. Now @ simple. What is that? Deck demo. So this is the beauty of the decorator. Now whatever the code we have, automatically will supply or apply to the every function wherever you added this decorator name. So now we can add and see that. So this is the advantage of the decorators in the Python. So decorators will help us to do something automatically for every function wherever you require without actual modification of the code. So this is very important topic in the Python. So this is technically called as decorators. So it's a purely an implementation of the nested functions. So any doubt, please ask me. So I will give you a few seconds of time. Please go through the lines of code. You can try to understand and ask me if you have any doubts. But this is a very simple, straightforward understanding of decorators. Okay, fine. So the last topic for today class is generators. Okay. So generators means like you can create a generator object as like a range function. Okay. So which will generally use it to create a series of values one by one. Instead of all together returning, it will return one by one value. And also instead of return keyword, here we are using yield keyword. Okay. So how it is will be definition gen demo. Let's take I'm writing gen demo. And now here I'm writing very simple. Instead of, as I mentioned, right, return, we can use the yield. So YIL yield keyword. Let's take 1. I'm writing again. I'm giving yield of 2. I'm telling you a simple example. Yield of let's take 3. I'm giving. Okay. So now what happened? So if you are calling the gen demo, okay, it does not print first of all anything as we know, because we are not printing anything here. Okay, first thing. And let's take example here. If I'm calling this function by storing something, If I'm using the instead of yield return statement, the value will be stored in the X obviously. So let's take example print X. So if I'm using that return here, okay. So here return and here let's take return. But anyway, it doesn't work because see, once you return, the other statement does not execute. So now if you run it, by the first line it will return and remaining it will omit it. The other lines it won't care about also. So now you will print the one only. How many times you will run? It will print only once. Okay. But the same thing if I'm writing the yield keyword, it won't return all the value and it won't stop the function. It returns the value and keep the run the function. That means now you will get X as a generator object. See that now we are printing, it's not printing the value, it's printing as an object called generator. So now here in line number 6, whatever the X we created, that is we call generator. So now X acting as a generator, that means X does not get any value directly, it is returning as an object. Now X can be used as a value generator by using next function, like next of. You can use, now you will get next of X. What is the first value? It is yielding 1, right? Now we'll get 1. Okay, so now if you want to get the second value, yes, there is a possibility. Print of, again you can write the next of X. So now we'll get 2 values. See that 1, 2. This is the one approach. Or else you can use our traditional approach for A in X. So X is generator, right? So A will retrieve all the values from the X and will print as a individual values. Now you see the print statement will all the values. See that 1, 2, 3 is printing. Now if I'm commenting this, all your 3 values will be printing from the for loop itself. You don't require to print individually. Now you see 1, 2, 3. So likewise, you can sometimes you may create a kind of generators and you can use them wherever you require as a collection of values. So if you want to generate the series of values in any program or any application, you can use the generators concept. Okay. So it is also one of the important topic in core Python. Generators are used to generate the values, or I can say like to fetch the values. So any doubt as of now? So these are all different, we can say, implementations of the functions along with our keywords. Okay, so here we got the new keyword for yield. So generally, return keyword is used to return the value from the function, and also it will stop the execution. That is important. Whenever you return something from that point, the function won't execute; it will stop it. But when you are using yield, it is also returning the value, but it won't stop the function. It still remains continue the execution of the function. That is the basic difference between the yield and return keyword. So this is all about your fundamental topics of functions and functions implementations. Okay. So as I got the information from the college, so you people have the tomorrow some industry trip, and as well as day after tomorrow you have exam. So that's why we are not conducting any classes tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So the next class will be on 13th. That is on Thursday. Okay. And but this week I may take the class on Friday also, because we are missing class by tomorrow, right? So Friday also will take the class, and the next class will be one of the important topic called exception handling. So how to handle the exceptions in Python, and how to write the try except blocks, and how to overcome the issues. That all I will cover in the next class. And the next one we are covering file handling. So these two are very important topics in upcoming days. One is exception handling, another one file handling. If these two completed little earlier, maybe then we can start regular expressions. Otherwise, these two only will take some time. Okay. So this is all about today class. And if you have any doubts, please free to ping me in chat at any time. Any other doubts, you can ping me.